Hey, what's going on, everyone? Vega here for Serpent X Tech. Welcome back for another episode of Caffeine and Crypto, where I welcome you to join me with any caffeinated beverage of choice: coffee, energy drink, tea. Don't like some caffeine? Grab some water as we go over this week's crypto news. Obviously, tensions heated up in the Middle East, and therefore the market has fallen. The stock market didn't fall as much as the crypto market, but unfortunately has fallen, and so we're pulling back a little bit. However, I'm still looking at the long game. Right now, Bitcoin's sitting at 104,000, almost 105,000. Coin 360 is not working for some odd reason. Not sure if they need to update their hosting platform or what, but there's definitely an error at the host. And you can see on the weekly, this week wasn't as good, right? This week wasn't as good. We started off, let's say, on the 8th of June, and we were climbing up, hopefully trying to march back to the all-time high, maybe make a new all-time high, but unfortunately we got stuffed out, right? So the 8th was a green day, Monday was a super day, everybody was getting hyped, people were trending, things were going down. Wednesday, we put in a strong day, but then fell pretty drastically. Thursday, Wednesday was bad. Friday was bad. Try to recover a little bit, and here we are. But we're going to go over some of the news articles today, but we obviously know what the situation is, right? Israel shot missiles and started attacking Iran. Let's just call it what it is. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but anytime there's global tensions, war, possibility of war, and Russia just responded that there could be a full-out war because Iran and Russia are allies. So not sure how things are going to pan out, but that's not what this channel is about. So Bitcoin is now in oversold territory as Israel strikes Iran. Analysts believe that Bitcoin will likely rebound after a notable drop due to geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. The threat of regional war in the Middle East is escalating. Crypto markets are feeling the pressure. On Friday, June 13th, Bitcoin dropped nearly 5% to a daily low of 102,000, which there was some opportunity there. I'm not sure if you guys got your fills in, your stop losses, whatever you did, but hopefully you guys came out ahead. Remember, you can trade both ways. You can make money in a tight range. You can make money going down. You can make money going up. All depends on how you do it. I did share my 3 commas link on X. If anybody is not using that and has the money to buy the subscription, even if it's the lowest tier, you could set 5 Autobots, and yeah, that sounds like fucking Transformers. You could set, I believe, 2 grid bots, a number of DCA trades, a number of signal trades, so on and so forth. But you can make money both ways is the point I'm trying to make. While Bitcoin declined as rising tensions, crude oil surged. We saw oil really pick up. A typical trend during the Middle East crisis, gold also climbed 1.74% to about $34.38, so $3,438 per ounce. Still, analysts believe that crypto markets may soon bounce back, either on a de-escalation or a shift in the broader Bitcoin narrative. The attack and the subsequent market sell-off caught traders off guard, and this individual that they're quoting said he noted 427 million in liquidated long positions across Bitcoin and Ethereum futures. So a lot was taken off, a lot was taken off the table. Nobody was expecting it. I mean, some people, some CIA team, some liaison between the countries, certain key people probably knew this was coming. But yeah, man, things have just been escalating over there. And again, while this channel doesn't focus on that, that does unfortunately have an impact on the broader market. So the stock markets, let's look at the S&P. I want to see something real quick. So S&P 500. So over the past 5 days, You could see Thursday, right, the S&P 500 dropped drastically, and then recovered a little bit on Friday, but then dropped towards the end of Friday, going into the weekend, right? So it put in a lower low, and then Bitcoin sort of recovered because Bitcoin operates 24/7, right? So it didn't put in a lower low, but yeah. So the markets, it's unfortunate the market is the crypto market is basically correlated with the stock market. I would really like to decouple from that, but it's still very much correlated. And when things do bad for the stock market, things do bad for crypto as a whole. And look at the news, right? Iran Israel conflict is just a setback in the S&P 500 path to 7,000. Fear of uncertainty held S&P 500 back from record. Now it's real. 3 significant S&P 500 dividend stocks down 15 to 65%. Buy and hold. Yada yada yada. Right. It's affecting everything. Obviously, except for some of the key ones that we mentioned in the previous article, like gold and crude oil. Which I don't know. What are the top crude oil stocks? Does anybody know that? Let's look that up real quick. Top crude oil stocks. Bohr, SDRL, Rig. Let's look at, which one do you want to look at? Let's see here. Okay, so let's look at Exxon. 112 over the past 5 days. Yeah, it's just been steadily climbing. Unlike the rest of the market that had that dip, right? Thursday, nothing happened. If anything, it went up. Let's look at Chevron. 5-day. Thursday again. Like, just continuously went up. Maybe people were shifting their portfolios and saw that and was just like, hey, I'm just going to sell some of my, I don't know how the ETF situation works. I don't participate in ETFs. I like to own my Bitcoin outright, so I'll dollar cost average into Bitcoin. But when it comes to ETFs, can you just let go of that position and immediately jump into crude because crude's going to continue to go up over the next 5 days, a week, 2 weeks, whatever, and then get back into ETFs, sell your profits to get back into ETFs? I'm assuming portfolio managers can do whatever the hell they want. But I'm not sure if there's remember the grayscale when people sold, there was like a penalty and they had to wait. I'm not sure how that works with crude oil and Bitcoin ETFs. But anyways, Bitcoin bounces back to 106K after Iran, Israel jitters, but analysts warn of deeper pullback. So people are calling for a, further downside. Obviously, the various indices fell. Crypto stocks mostly down, except for Circle, which rose 13% following its IPO and interest from Amazon and Walmart. We also got some other news that we're going to talk about regarding Circle here towards later on in the stream. Don't forget, Red Panda's going live after us. Just hang tight. If you have any questions, comments, or otherwise, just at me or send a super chat if you can afford to do so. Otherwise, I'm going to keep rocking and rolling. After slumping to 102.6 mark, Bitcoin rebounded to 106 before fading lower in the U.S. afternoon hours, and reports from a fresh wave of airstrikes targeting Iran. The top cryptocurrency was down 1.6 in the last 24 hours, changing hands at 105.2 and still less than 6% shy of its all-time high. Meanwhile, the CoinDesk 20, the index on top of the top 20 cryptocurrencies, saw a loss of 4.4%. Ether, Avalanche, Toncoin were hardest hit, slumping 6 to 8%. Crypto stocks, however, aren't doing too hot. Most equities are in the red, especially Bitcoin miners like Mara, Riot, so on and so forth. A notable exception is the stablecoin Circle, which benefited from the windfall of its recent IPO. The stock is up 13% at the time of this article, and the news of real giants like Amazon and Walmart exploring stablecoin, adding to the momentum. Traditional markets don't seem overwhelmingly concerned, right? They did fall, but they didn't fall as I guess you could say steep as the other traditional markets. S&P 500 NASDAQ, so on and so forth. Nice bounce for us thus far. So hitting at 102 and then bouncing back up to 106. And a lack of follow through lower. We got a post here from Skew. Market participant would likely remain cautious through the weekend with BTC tightly correlated with traditional markets and heightened geopolitical risk. So we'll probably see, even though the market's still open as far as crypto goes, the traditional market is not. So I think people are just waiting to see, standing on the sidelines this weekend, waiting to see what happens, who escalates, what says what. And you know, the world leaders, they have that power. You know, what they say has weight. And that can affect the markets, whether it's traditional stock and so on. I really would like crypto to grow to a point, especially Bitcoin, to where it doesn't matter if a famous person or influencer says something or one of the world leaders says something. It's not affected, or at least is not affected as much. I believe Bitcoin was obviously more affected than the traditional stocks like S&P 500 and NASDAQ because it's still new. I know it's not new, right? Like this cryptocurrency has been around for a long time, but as far as new as a mainstream economic financial tool, yeah, it's still very young. Not in its infancy, but it's still very young. So I think that will come as time pushes on. So right now we need to hold the 100 to 101K. John Glover, Chief Investment Officer at Bitcoin lender Lend, argued that Bitcoin entered a corrective phase from its record high that could see the largest digital asset drop to 88 to 93. He said 90K level could offer a favorable entry for opportunistic investors before Bitcoin resumes its uptrend. Once the pattern has played out, the next move higher is to 130K in the expected area. So let's look at what that is from right now. Let's say we chop throughout the weekend, right? What is that drop to that 90K, high 88K region, right? So 100K is only 4.5%. 98K is only 6%. And we looked at this last week, right? Last Caffeine and Crypto, I did mention a drop from where we were at that time on the 7th would put us back down to this orange line. And guess what? We did touch it. So could we fall further? We certainly can, but you can see we got some key support. Look over here to the left, guys. Right? We got some support right here. And we got some significant support right here, which is what's holding us up right now. If we lose that support, then yeah, maybe, right? 100K, 98K, 97K, 96K. We've got some legacy lines that might play a factor, right? Like there's an orange one coming up. If I were to extend that, you know, we could fall to 99K. So that's still at the 100K range. I don't know about 80, like 80,000. I don't know about 78, but definitely 100K, 98K, 97, 96 is certainly within the realm of possible. Bitcoin's done 10% ups and downs easily. But it really depends on the world economic situation and tensions, right? Bitcoin mirrors that 80% rally setup that preceded a 2024 Israel-Iran conflict. This is not the first time. One analyst spots a bullish fractal driven by the 2024 like liquidity grabs, hinting that Bitcoin may break out towards a new all-time high. They believe that a bullish fractal involving liquidity grabs suggests Bitcoin could soon break out toward those highs. Macro tailwinds and whale accumulation support a potential rally to 150K or more in 2025. Since Bitcoin is flashing these signs of bullish rejection, struggling off recent selling pressure sparked by renewed conflict between Israel and Iran, the setup is striking similar to one that preceded an 80% rally in late 2024. On Friday, Bitcoin rebounded to the low near 102, sliding 5.5 in response to the situation over there. The cryptocurrency recovered a portion of those losses afterward, reaching 105, 106. And the bounce aligns with successful retest of Bitcoin's 50-day simple moving average, or SMA, a technical level that has historically acted as reliable support. The price structure closely mirrors Bitcoin's performance in October of 2024 when it fell 8.8 after Iran launched missile barrage into Israel. All right, so we can be doing the same thing as far as the trading pattern goes. But we'll have to see. With BTC bottoming just around 60,500, 60.5K, what followed was a sharp reversal. Bitcoin surged up 80% by December, topping near 108K. The study by Andre, head of research at Bitwise, shows that while Bitcoin often sees a short-term price decline during periods of geopolitical tension or conflict, it consistently rebounds. On average, Bitcoin recovers within 50 days and in most cases surpasses the pre-event price levels, underscoring the asset's resilience in the face of global uncertainty. To me, Bitcoin is a hedge against global uncertainty. But again, because it's now like ETFs, the suits are in the game, the traders are in the game. It's not just crypto bros in their fucking basement anymore. There's a lot of trading activity that goes on. And when the global market gets concerned, maybe it's there's a lot of uncertainty and doubt, it's going to affect crypto. Unless Bitcoin can grow beyond, such small-minded, moves, then we're going to have some of those effects. Obviously, especially, as the economic conditions allow it for that to happen, right? Everybody's still, even though we know the centralized big boys are playing ball, right? The banks, the institutions, and all the various, big financial managers are getting exposure to Bitcoin. They're just accumulating like nothing. The middle class and lower class are accumulating what we can, but it's nowhere near where we would like to be. They're trying to get as much Bitcoin. There's a lot of people that still have Bitcoin that are not a part of these centralized entities, whether it's the governments, the federal organizations, or what have you. So it's still very much decentralized. The net hash decentralized. So Bitcoin is still strong. It's just we're having a lot of that money. If we're selling what we have, you and I, it's going into the hands of the few, and that's what they want, right? They can't control Bitcoin, but they want as much as they possibly can. The situation with the trade between US and China, it's still here, guys. Like, it's going to go away unless they can, or it's going to come up unless they can knock out a deal. I don't know how that's going. I haven't heard anything substantial about that. And then the economic conditions, we still got Ukraine, we still got Russia, but now we got Iran and Israel, we still got Palestinians. Dude, it's stupid right now. So everything is stupid. People can't get along, and it's going to impact the market. But definitely accumulate what you can. Dollar cost average what you can. But on-chain data confirms renewed whale accumulation, suggesting that large investors buy into price weakness. So as the price fell, those whales were accumulating. Hope you were as well. Market analyst Margin, the trader, points to a separate fractal unfolding, one driven by liquidity grabs by traders. His side-by-side chart comparison shows signs of Bitcoin price breaking above a descending trend line and a range-high resistance, just as it did ahead of its surge past 100K after the first Israel-Iran conflict in 2024. So if we look at this chart, they're saying we're right here. I'm mousing over it, but I can't really show it to you. So this lower circle, they're saying we're right here, and you could see what happened, right? So we pull back, and it's always good to get your bearings. If you're climbing and you're climbing pretty high, it's okay to rest, get your bearings, reset, and then start the next leg up. So if Bitcoin can do that, that'd be great. So people are calling similarities between that. We'll see how that goes. We got some bold price predictions getting even bolder, right? So we heard 130K. I'm still near that 125, 130K. I most certainly am. If we try to squinch this down and measure that out from where we are, right? 130K is only 24%, 25%. So that's certainly within the realm of possible by the end of 2025 for sure. But there's also some pretty good numbers being thrown out there as far as price predictions, and we'll see how that goes. So yeah, Bitcoin price is looking good, or as far as mirroring out, Bitcoin price breakout to 119K possible if oil rally pattern holds. So now we got another pattern that people are drawing similarities to, and this one's related between oil and Bitcoin. Data shows that Bitcoin price gained at least 60% within a week of sharp oil prices rally. Historical data suggests that Bitcoin's rally up to 24% within days of oil price surge. Generally not regarded, Bitcoin is not generally regarded as a reliable investment during periods of geopolitical uncertainty, particularly when oil prices spike in response to escalating global tensions. However, the historical data suggests that some moments often present compelling buying opportunities for traders prepared to capitalize on market dislocations, or basically the uncertainty and doubt. In face of the imminent conflict and instability, investors typically rotate into short-term government debt and cash. This is what I was talking about. How easy it is for people that like are in the Bitcoin ETFs to rotate out, right? Sell their a percentage of their positions, get into oil before it spikes up, get into this indice, this stock, whatever. How easy is that? If there's no lock, if there's no period in which they have to adhere to, I could certainly see that, right? People, their traditional stocks, they see something about to pop off, or they see something that they can take advantage of. They get out of their Bitcoin, dropping the price of Bitcoin and into these various stocks and plays to try to make up as much money, because that's all they're doing. Everybody's just profit hunt, right? There's more day traders today than there are people that actually build your car. I'm joking. That's probably not a true statistic. That's not data that I can verify. But I'm just saying there's a lot more day traders these days. And, like how easy is it for them to rotate? I'm assuming pretty easy, especially the big boy hedge funds. Nevertheless, Bitcoin is historically outperforming in the week following abrupt oil price surges, such as the recent rally to $77 per barrel on Friday. A review of the 15-minute price chart reveals that the inverse relationship between Bitcoin and oil. A WTI crude rose 19% on Wednesday and Friday. Bitcoin declined from 110 to 102. This pattern aligns with the prevailing view that Bitcoin as a risk-on asset, not a defensive hedge. Yet, a broader time frame offers different insights. Over the long term, data shows no consistent correlation between Bitcoin and oil prices, with the relationship fluctuating considerably. Still, episodes of extreme oil price appreciation have coincided with sharp Bitcoin corrections. 3 times in the past year alone, each instance was followed by a rebound in Bitcoin price, which gains ranging from 16 to 24% within 8 days of the initial drop. Now, remember what I said. For us to get to 130,000 or 125,000, it's 24%. So could we hit that in the short term, in the next month? Possibly. I don't know about the next 8 days, but possibly. If things could calm down, if trades and talks and all that good stuff from the various nations and political leaders, if we could get them to do that, yeah, for sure. So we got WTI, which is in blue, versus Bitcoin, which we know what color Bitcoin is. Interesting. The most recent instance on January 15, 2025, oil price surged to $80.50 from $72.50 just 6 days earlier. The spike coincided with Bitcoin drop to 89K, followed by a 22% rally to 109K by January 20th. So January 13th to January 20th. Not long. The move came after United States imposed sanctions on Russia's oil sector, while U.S. crude inventories declined for 8 consecutive weeks. Earlier on October 8th, oil prices jumped from 77.5 to 68, from 68 the week before Bitcoin initially corrected to 58,900 on October 10th, but then advanced 16% over the following 8 days. So just basically keep an eye on the next 8 days. Now, I don't think there's that strong of a correlation, but people are just drawing similarities wherever they could draw similarities. You know how, and no disrespect to the person that wrote the article and the individuals that are sharing this data. They might be very intelligent and good traders, and I am not a day trader. I am not an expert by any means whatsoever, especially in the financial sector, and nor is anything I'm saying financial advice. But you know how people look at clouds and they're like, oh, look, that looks like SpongeBob. They're just finding things I forgot what the word is. They're finding things in nothing. Maybe in the next 8 days we blow up. That would be awesome. I'm not going to bet the farm on it, right? It has happened in the past. They're drawing similarities, but I'm just not going to bet the farm on it. So either way, we got 2 articles. Even though we had a situation the world does not need right now in the Middle East and Ukraine, between China and the U.S. We don't need this shit, guys. Like, we don't need this drama. But we have all this going on in multiple areas. So there's some situations going on in South America and Africa. My prayers go out to each and every one of you in those countries or in those circumstances. I wish you the best. But because that's going on, we got some fear, we got some uncertainty, we got some doubt. So some articles raising concerns why the price of Bitcoin dropped. But now we got some articles saying, hey, we could, because the conflict drops the price, but then shortly after, maybe a month after, 45 days after, 8 days after, depending on which one we're talking about, like oil or the geopolitical tensions, we get a price rally. So could we see a nice price rally? That would be nice. And then here's another article. 30 Bitcoin price top indicators hinting at 230K bull market peak. When is that peak going to happen? Everybody's going to give you a date. I don't want to give you a date because nobody fucking knows. We don't have a crystal ball. We can't tell the future. We didn't take our time machine. Like, nobody fucking knows. So your best bet is, if you're not mining Bitcoin to accumulate Bitcoin, whether it's dollar cost averaging or just, $10 here, major investment here, whatever, like, figure it out. Accumulate Bitcoin, add to your portfolio, diversify yourself. So this article says a list of 30 bull market top indicators from monitoring resource CoinGlass still demands up to 120% more Bitcoin price upside. Bitcoin may be consolidating after repeated new all-time highs, but giant list of classic on-chain indicators show no signs of market exhaustion at all. And don't forget, we did reach oversold territory recently. All right, that gives us more room to breathe and then push up again. And we're already at the 104, 105K area, so that would be nice. CoinGlass curated bull market peak selection contains 30 potential selling triggers and aims to catch long-term BTC price drops. Currently, not a single one of its components is flashing a top signal. According to these models, BTC will be 135 to 230K this cycle. Popular trader Cass AB wrote on an X post. AB has particularly highlighted 3 indicators: the pi cycle top, the market value to realize value, and a long-term RSI, to demonstrate that the Bitcoin bull market still has plenty of room to run. This ain't the top, they concluded. Cointelegraph has already tracking the pi cycle top and the MVRV data in March, noting that the prior bull market had all ended with overheating visible on chain. CoinGlass currently categorized Bitcoin as a hold 100% asset based on the cues taken from the top 30 indicators. And here's the chart. Right? I can't zoom out. It won't let me for some reason. Okay. You're going to cut off 1 and 2. Okay. Yeah, so 100% hold is what they're saying. But I believe this is a list of indicators. So we'll have to see. Bitcoin price action draws down in 2021 comparison. So we got some comparison with 2021, which is obviously leading some people to speculate. Yeah. All right. So it's basically similar to the climate in late 2021, just before the start of Bitcoin's most recent bear market, during which BTC USD fell 80%. The price action seems more distributive and not accumulative bullish. Almost following the same choppiness at the end of 2021, he argued. Notice how price can barely push higher without coming down, bigger players selling into pump. And that's true, right? Institutions, big whales, accumulators, a small percentage to them might be a very large percentage to us, bringing that price down. And look at the volume. All right, let's zoom out real quick. We talked about this last show. The volume previously is much greater than the volume recently. There's not a lot of volume. If we could get back to these volumes from prior, right? Like look back here, guys. Look at the volume back here. This is 2022, right? During a bear market. A lot of selling going on. A lot of buying going on, both ways. This volume is crazy. The volume of even further in the past, 2020, is even greater than today. You know, maybe there's some OTC happening. Maybe the ETFs don't get tracked on here. I understand that. But we need that volume. We need retail to join the party. I know they're in there. It's just not as much as it used to be, to join the party, and institutions to chill the fuck out. But they're just going to keep trying to make money as hand over fist as much as possible. Fuck the rest of us. So who cares about us? But anyways, it's a mixed bag. Like, some people are calling for a higher number. They still think that this cycle we might hit 125 to 200K. Yeah, great. When is that top going to be? I don't think it's going to be in 2025. I don't think it's going to be, I probably going to be in 2026, but when in 2026, I don't freaking know, guys. Yeah, Bitcoin's becoming more central to portfolios as volatility cools. Central to portfolio, you know, people are diversifying themselves, and it's very important that they do that, right? They stack up, they have a good mix. And so most portfolios are most certainly going to have Bitcoin in it, which is a good thing. It's definitely a good thing. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just an old school person that just wants the people to have people's, you know, the people to have the people's money. Not the suits, not the centralized entities, not the big boys, not the 1%. But we'll see. It's intriguing to me, blah, 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 that Bitcoin, the cost of getting into Bitcoin is shrinking. The cost of getting into Bitcoin is shrinking. Would you agree with that? Is the cost of getting into Bitcoin, the barrier to entry, shrinking? Let me know in the comment section. If the beta shrinks, that would be very interesting. Beta is the measurement of asset volatility compared to that of the market. Institutional investors move to embrace Bitcoin was also a sign of maturity from the cryptocurrency. Consider that BlackRock is one of the leaders in the charge to bring Bitcoin ETFs to market. One of the leaders, but Grayscale was first. The flagship cryptocurrency fell blah, 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 60% in 2022, while NASDAQ dropped 3.33%. In contrast, from April to April, the days following the announcement of DJT tariffs, Bitcoin retreated about 5%, NASDAQ fell more than 6%. Additionally, the number of Bitcoin wallets that have held the crypto for the last month and sell their full position has come down a lot. All right, I don't think as many people are selling. They're obviously still selling, but I don't think as many people are selling. And most of what we've lost recently are liquidations, right? Longs getting liquidated. Which suggests that investors are holding onto the crypto for the long term rather than trading it. I would hope so. Bitcoin accounts for a small amount of the world's net worth, around 2 trillion out of 500 trillion. He said if one assumes Bitcoin will continue to grow and has been as valuable by more people, then it has become more central to the portfolio. Got a quote here. For those of you that think Bitcoin is going to be important, my recommendation is never make it such a big portion of your portfolio that it becomes the driving factor of your portfolio. You're going to make more money by having a smaller position that you can keep for 10 years than a big one that worries you all the time. Okay. Don't make it such a huge position, but, you know, accumulate. Still, all time, you know, that Bitcoin chart, that's banging. And you look at the drop, like That's nothing. So if you zoom out, everything looks very, very attractive still. But everybody who's telling you Bitcoin's going to hit this and Bitcoin's going to hit that and we're going to fall this and we're going to fall that. Yeah, you know, technical analysis could probably help you out. You could get kind of close, get a ballpark idea, eyeball it, whatever. But nobody can predict when the all-time high will be here, right? We hit an all-time high of 111,000 and some odd change or something like that. You know, will we hit the 200K, the 120K, the 125K, 130K, whatever fucking number they want by the end of 2025? I hope so, but I can't guarantee it. I can't promise you that, so I'm not going to. Market experts reveal when Bitcoin will hit $600,000. See, everybody's saying astronomical numbers, and they're predicting a time frame. Let's see here. Micro-sailor strategy continued to accumulate Bitcoin in large quantities. Yada yada yada. GameStop has a portfolio. DJT's crypto company, you know, Bitcoin ETF is filed, and the SEC is I believe thumbsing up in it. So all these companies got ETFs and they're just trying to accumulate as much Bitcoin as they possibly can. So blah blah blah, yada yada. Next in line is the fact that the gold market cap is above 23 trillion despite being an unlimited asset. Yada yada. Bitcoin's fixed supply of 21 million as well. It's being able to easily transfer across national states. We know all this. Where's your? All right. Given all of this, the crypto experts believe that Bitcoin price could rise 500% to reach 600,000. This will put. We know that, but what is your Terraspheres, Doge, Cool? Where's your supporting evidence? So market cap of 10 to 12 trillion. So instead of $2 trillion market cap for Bitcoin, 10 to 12 trillion. Timeline is expected to be sometime in 2028. 600,000 in 2028. Bitcoin market cap of 10 to 12 trillion. But like, they're not really giving me any supporting evidence of why they believe it will do that. Are you just drawing similarities between gold? Anyways, whatever. Moving on. Altcoin season. Just flash a golden cross and make crypto market recovery. Investing scope has drawn market participants' attention to a major occurrence that hints at an imminent altcoin season. Analysts have revealed how high the crypto market could reach as altcoins outperform Bitcoin during this period. Altcoin season may be imminent as the golden cross flashes. Altcoins have a one-day golden cross, the first since just right after the U.S. elections. He noted that the rally that followed made new highs for these altcoins, indicating that other altcoin seasons may be on the horizon. Analysts also predict that the total market cap, or total crypto market, can reach at least 4.03 trillion, so 4 trillion. He noted that since the bear cycle bottom, this is the fourth one-day golden cross, that the minimum the market has surged around such formation with just over 73%. At such, the crypto market cap, currently valued at 3.39 trillion, can reach the 4 trillion target during this altcoin season rally. Altcoins have again rallied following the Bitcoin recent run to close its all-time high. Ethereum price at 29K, close to that psychological level of 3,000. Solana 170, yada yada yada. So Bitcoin stay here, altcoins chop up. Bloomberg analyst Eric told investors to get ready for a potential altcoin ETF summer, because we are seeing a lot of those, right? A lot of ETFs being filed for Doge, Litecoin, Solana, Ripple, XRP, whatever you want to call it. This development could be the catalyst that sparks the altcoin season, with the SEC already asking issuers to amend their S1 filings. Meanwhile, the Ethereum's ETFs just hit a 4-month high of inflows, with over $240 million in inflows into these funds on June 11th. These funds have also witnessed 18 consecutive days of inflows as optimism grows about the SEC approving staking of these funds. So Ethereum staking with these ETF funds, I'm pretty sure some people will be happy. This could be another catalyst, blah, 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 yada, yada, whatever. The ex-post market expert Paul Barron indicated that ETH BTC breakout was imminent. And we've been looking at that, right? ETH compared to BTC has not been doing too well. Recently, ETH has started to climb up a bit. It's fallen down, right? So like ETH right now is at 2,500. So it's not at that 2,900 area, but it's fallen down. But overall, like ETH has not done good compared to Bitcoin. Will we see a change? Possibly. I wouldn't say like a world-altering change, like ETH's going to flip Bitcoin, but hopefully as ETH rises, so can the altcoins with it. He declared that altcoin season is preparing for a face melter and that ETH BTC breakout is committed. The expert added that the market sentiment is up 2.8%. ETH will be the leader. Crypto analyst Mickey Bull Crypto has also made a case for Ethereum to lead the altcoin season. I kind of agree with that. If we could get Ethereum to rise up and do good while Bitcoin's chopping, moving sideways, stabilize, whatever, we'll see altcoins rally behind ETH, and that will be a really great thing for the overall market, for crypto mining, for everything. I think the biggest mistake is that Ethereum moved away from proof of stake to from proof of work to proof of stake, and you know, all GPU miners are suffering, and not just GPU miners, but like FPGA miners. There's not much out there. ASIC miners, there's a handful out there, but like it's not as good. It's just the whole market is, as far as proof of work, is not as advantageous as it used to be. I had to clear my throat so real quick, guys. We're going to continue on. I wanted to talk about the ETF filings, but you guys might have to give me a second. But yeah, the ETF filings. There's some incomplete filings for like Bitwise near ETFs, the 21 shares, Van Eck, Canary Pengu ETF. Pengu? Really? We're doing Pengu? Get the fuck out of here. Aptos, Axel, like look at this. Look at this. Sue, BNB, SEI. Is that Tron? TRX? Polkadot? Pengu? Come on. No, not Pengu. Get out of here. But this could be one of the catalysts, or one of the points that help the altcoin season, right? Because we get these ETF inflows into these altcoins and these lesser coins, right? As a matter of fact, let's just go look at what is the market cap of so Solana's market cap is 76 billion, right? Bitcoin's 2 trillion, right? So imagine if we had an ETF for Solana at 76 billion. Its market cap goes up to 500 billion, 800 billion. Can you imagine what that would do to the price? You know, Ethereum's already up there, right? 300 billion. So Solana might not do what Ethereum's doing. Maybe it will. I don't know, right? Because there's already Ethereum ETS and it's only at 302 billion. So let's say Solana moves from 76 billion to, let's say, 100 billion, 200 billion. You know, that price appreciation could be drastic. And I'm staking whatever little ass pennies of Solana I have. Anything I could stake in a way to where I control the asset and not through centralized entities, I am staking. Not sure if you guys watched any of my videos on how to do that, but there are some videos out there. But I just couldn't imagine, like Doge, right? Doge is 26 billion. Can you imagine if ETF inflows come in, 26 billion? Doge gets up to, let's say, 76, like Solana, 76 billion. What that would do to the price? Could Doge be $1? That'd be nuts, guys. That'd be nuts. So ETFs, add additional avenues, right? Like expanding a highway, you got different avenues in which people can use to move and travel down the highway and stuff like that. There's some people, they got to clean up their stuff. They got to adapt their filings and stuff. But hopefully, perfectly, these ETFs will help with altcoin summer. So we'll come back to this in just a moment. I'm going to need to take a quick break. I'm going to play this video for you. Do not leave. Red Panda's coming on next. I will transfer you guys on over there. We got about 13 minutes. Please hang tight. Do me a favor. Hit that like button. Something's going on. I just got technical difficulties. Just hang tight. Bear with me. All right, let me make sure the desktop audio is on and it's not too loud. Let's see.
Today, crypto prices fall as trade tensions continue to hamper investors. Shares of GameStop tumble after the gaming retailer announced a potential Bitcoin buying strategy. And Jesse Pollack of Coinbase breaks down the exchange's new partnership with e-commerce giant Shopify. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel in New York City for the annual Coinbase State of Crypto Summit. We'll talk more about this event in just a moment, but first, crypto prices. Digital currencies are giving back some of their gains made earlier in the week thanks to ongoing trade uncertainty. By noon Eastern, Bitcoin dropped back to the $107,000 level. Ether fell to $2,700 and Solana fell to $157. We're also keeping an eye on two stocks on Wall Street.
All right, so this one to me is pretty cool, right? Coinbase, we know Circle had the IPO, which really popped it off, but Shopify to bring USDC payments to merchants. So people using the Shopify store can use USDC to pay for their services or products or whatever. That's on Shop. That's sick. That's sick. Now, technically, we could do that right now. I'm not sure if you guys, what country you're in and whether or not you have Coinbase, but I'm pretty sure there's a Kraken debit card. There's a Coinbase debit card. MetaMask even offers a card. Robinhood offers a card. So there's ways to take your crypto or your stocks or whatever and sell it and, swipe your card and pay for whatever transaction. There's ways to do that. But, this direct, integration with Shopify, which is honestly, one of the more used e-com platforms, would be pretty fucking huge. So I like it. All right, going back to the ETFs, I just need you guys to hang tight. I would like to see an Avalanche. I would like to see a Solana. I would definitely like to see a Sue. I don't care for Pengu. And I don't really care about maybe BNB, maybe. What ETF would you like to see? Sound off right now in the comments or in the live chat. If there's an ETF that would launch, which ETF would you like to see? Right? Let me know, because I'm interested to see what ETFs you like. Now, I did ask a question. If you guys go to the channel, I did ask a question about if you had $1,000, how would you, what cryptos you would buy, right? That's what I asked. So if we go to post, if you guys want to comment on this, or it's also on X. It's also on X. I would like to hear from you. If you haven't already commented, if you commented, don't worry about it. But if you have already commented, go ahead over there after the show and let us know if you had a spare $1,000 right now, just 1,000, that you would use to buy 5 different cryptocurrencies. What would they be? Let me know. Again, it's also on X. It's not just on YouTube. It's also on X. Feel free to comment there as well. I will try to compile everything together and see, what everybody's saying. Okay. Either way, I'm curious to see how you guys would spend $1,000. If you had a spare $1,000, what you would buy, what you would gain exposure in, yada yada yada. Let me know. Obviously, the Gary Gensler is gone. The CFTC people and the SEC and most of the government are very positive or are nice to crypto. It would really suck if we do all this and we make progress, and then the next administration that comes in about 3.5 years just freaking unwinds everything and just rolls everything back, just pushing us back again to pre-2024, 2022 levels. That would just suck, dude. That would just suck. But hopefully not. Hopefully we can grow, show the benefits of blockchain and cryptocurrencies and decentralization and the DeFi space and Web3 and gaming to the rest of the world, that it would be more widely accepted rather than frowned upon. Because there's still some people out there, unfortunately, that just believe crypto's a scam. Bitcoin's a scam. I don't know how. I don't know why. You couldn't talk to them. They still don't believe you. Like everything is a scam. You know, rat poison, whatever. Some of it is the older mindset, right? But some of it is just they just don't understand and they don't care to understand. If you have to explain it to them, they don't care. And that's unfortunate. But we got people in places that are more friendly to crypto. Hopefully that will lead out to a more expansive, you know, ETFs that get launched. But I also want good safety measures in place to protect end users, right? Like I don't want to just approve Pengu or Cat with Hat or some stupid shit coin that could get rug pull, and then people that are in the ETFs are going to go after that centralized entity because they got scammed when it had nothing to do with them. So they just need to be careful. I wouldn't go crazy on the ETFs. I just go with the top currencies: Bitcoin, Solana, obviously Ethereum, Solana, Dogecoin, Litecoin. I'm sort of hesitant on Cardano. I know Charles would like that. Maybe Cardano. Sue. I don't think BNB is going to get approved. I don't think people like BNB. I know a lot of people use BNB, but I don't think like the American people like BNB. I don't know. Just a handful. Like, don't go crazy. Moving on, before we watch the rest of this video about Circle and how Shopify accepted payments, HBM, high bandwidth memory, 240 gig to 100 and 180 watt per stack, and massive power requirement for entire GPU package. Look at that. That is crazy. A slide deck revealing plans and next generation high bandwidth memory was published by the Korean Advanced Institute of Science and Technology and Terra, the Terabyte Interconnection and Package Laboratory, and shared by WCCF. While it's very unlikely that everything listed in these slides will make it into final specifications, especially since HBM5 hasn't even been finalized by JEDEC, and everything shown is subject to change. This is what the market and AI researchers believe will be necessary to meet the demand and bypass the limitations of technology. First, we looked at the proposed GPU roadmap, which appears to be based on Nvidia designs. The Rubin series, expected to launch next year, will feature HBM4 with a total capacity ranging from 288 gigabytes to 384 gigabytes. However, HBM5 already being planned for 400 to 500 gigabytes, and HBM6 for 1536 to 1920 gigabytes, and HBM7 for 5120 and 6144 gigabytes. Nvidia never named architectures after Feynman. Oh my god, I suck at this. So you're basically looking at what could arrive later and how the GPU part slowly becomes just as large as the HBM side, right? So you got the GPU in the middle here in purple. You got the HBM gray. And then you got the interposer, which is what the silicon sits on, right? And look at how gigantic these things are. Gigantic. If these projections, looking a decade ahead, prove accurate, GPUs are more precisely AI and data center accelerators, would feature up to 8 GPU dies and possibly 32 HBM7 modules. These modules alone will require over 13,000 watts, while the GPU itself is assumed to only draw 1,200 watts. Next-gen memory would continue to scale and stack layers, but each layer will become thinner. HBM thickness is expected not to exceed 720 microns, and HBM5 targeting 36 per DRAM size. Given the increase in power consumption, they're already required to have immersion cooling. Data centers, we've seen it. I showed it off at CES and back like 2 years ago. Gigabyte and all the major manufacturers have it where there's immersion containers are basically you open up the lid, you got your 2U, your 3U, your 4U server, you slide in there, and then it pumps and it connects to your already established system or its own dedicated heat exchanger. This is definitely going to be required. This is definitely going to be required. Pretty massive, pretty huge, and you know, because of AI, believe it or not, mining for uranium has picked up. If you haven't paid attention to that, mining for uranium for us to make green nuclear energy, and yes, nuclear energy has its cons, but it is greener compared to other resources, is becoming more proficient. We need to upgrade our reactors. We need to improve our nuclear infrastructure and overall electrical infrastructure. But if these things are coming out requesting this much fucking power, yeah, we definitely need it. We definitely fucking need it. Just, it's crazy. It's crazy. Crazy to me. All right. So we got Red Panda Mining coming up here in about 2 minutes. Let's see if he's live. We're going to listen to this MSNBC or CBC, NBC, whatever the fucking BC's. By the way, shit's getting done on the car. I give you guys got video updates coming in the future. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, still haven't hit 30K, by the way. Thank you, assholes. You subscribed and left. Appreciate you. Did that giveaway and you guys left. Fucking assholes. Anyways, yeah, Red Panda's not live yet. We got about 1 minute. Let's go ahead and listen to CNBC. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or otherwise, please let me know in the, make sure to post it in the live chat or send a super chat.
Strategy launching its STRD preferred stock on the NASDAQ this morning. That offering managed to hold steady around midday. At the same time, shares of GameStop tumbling by more than 20% at noon after the company announced a $1.7 billion convertible note offering that could potentially help the gaming retailer and meme stock buy Bitcoin. All right, let's jump right into...
Looks like Red Panda's going to be late. He was out hanging out at Tim Hortons. How are you doing, Red? You still driving? All right, let's see.
Coinbase's State of Crypto Summit here in New York City. Now, in the past, this conference was all about the future of regulation and what the industry hoped it could accomplish with a more crypto-friendly Washington. This year, though, these conversations are all about the present. Crypto regulation that's currently moving through Congress, conversations that these attendees are already having with pro-crypto regulators, and more. It's also a victory lap for Stand With Crypto, which spent millions to elect these pro-crypto lawmakers in 2024. Coinbase also making several product announcements today, including an American Express credit card for its Coinbase One members. You can read more about that in my story on CNBC.com. And I also spoke to Jesse Pollack, head of Coinbase Wallet and Base, the company's Ethereum Layer 2, about one of them, a new deal with Shopify to bring stablecoin payments to the e-commerce giant. Thank you so much for joining me on Crypto World today, Jesse. You made an announcement here on stage with Shopify today, the Coinbase State of Crypto Summit. Shopify is now going to allow payments with USDC on the Base network. So stablecoins are really having a whole moment here. I need you first to break down this announcement. Base is Coinbase's
awesome.
In-house made layer 2 blockchain.
Yep.
Discuss the value proposition for that and then bring it back to this announcement. How does that fit into this new experience that's available on Shopify with USDC?
Yeah, so I think Shopify rolling out stablecoins across their platform is a watershed moment for crypto, where for the first time, stablecoins are fast, cheap, easy, and they're getting rolled out.
Yeah, because Coinbase, I'm not sure if you use Coinbase, but Coinbase, I can deposit USDC from Solana, Algorand, Polygon, a whole bunch of different networks, avoiding the fees on the Ethereum network. It's really fucking awesome. What comments? Hey, SerpentX Tech, you don't see my comments? What comments? Nuclear power, high. What comments? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Out into a real consumer payments experience. Shopify had 875 million people pay on Shopify stores last year, more than $1 trillion of value processed. And now all of those folks are going to have access to stablecoins over the next year. And so for us, this is exactly the kind of real world crypto adoption that we are trying to drive. And when we think about Base, Base is a chain, but really what we're doing is we're building a global economy. where you can build use cases like this, like stablecoins, like payments, like social apps, really like anything you can imagine, and have it by default be globally accessible. So regardless of where you are, you can tune into this new internet, the on-chain internet, and get to participate with all these new products on-chain.
Okay, so how does Coinbase enter the picture here? So I am shopping online. I want to check out with ShopPay or something using USDC. Yep. How does Coinbase enter that equation?
Yeah, so.
And by the way, ShopPay is very popular. So if you buy automotive parts or whatever, right, there's a purple button that says pay with Shop. That integration to allow you to use your USDC, I think is phenomenal, right? So we're going to get the average regular person that buys a purse, sneakers, automotive parts, hats, merchandise, whatever, to be able to spend their USD. I think this is really cool. I think this is really cool. And by extending this or enabling it, we're just going to get more and more users involved on the blockchain, participating and, you know, utilizing crypto, right, for a good, because USDC is 1-to-1, right? So it's always going to be basically a dollar. Might be like 99.8 cents or 0.998 instead of $1, but it's always going to be pegged to the dollar. And Rudd, yeah, I usually read the comments later. You said GameStop won't stop. Let me check GameStop real quick. Let's see if that's what you're talking about. I don't know. I know it's crashed like a mofo, but I'm not sure what you mean by that comment. Let's go 1 month. Yeah, it's down, but the market. Yeah, GameStop. Damn, I should have fucking sold. I should hit 35 on May 27th. I should have sold. Damn it, man. Yeah, I don't know if it's ever gonna get back to that day, that golden day. I don't know about that. It'd be nice. Is Red Panda live yet? Yes, he's live. All right. You guys go ahead on over to Red Panda. Thank you so much for stopping by. Do me a favor, hit that like button on the way out. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. I do a live stream every Saturday around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time before Red Panda Mining and Rabbit Mining. Usually my buddy Crypto Mikkel is on before me. But thank you for all your support and all you do for the crypto community. Keep hashing. Keep stacking them sats. Stay positive. The market's going to fall. It's going to recover. Play the long game. Stop worrying about it short term. Make sure your dollar cost average. If you got some extra funds, maybe consider using some of the auto bots, whether it's Telegram on Solana, which I did share as well. If you need the link to that, let me know. Whether it's the 3 commas, or if you have the capability and you're an AI engineer and you know how to build your own bots and incorporate AI into it to monitor various statistics, hit me up. Send me a DM. Contact email is on the channel. As well as, you know, hit me up on X, Instagram, wherever. Hit me up. Let me know. Show me what you're working with. Show me what you're building. I'll be very interested to see what you got going on. And if you need any help with FPGAs, mining, Tari, some of you already hit me up. I'll do my best when I'm available. Today, I'm going to be busy. But go have fun with Red Panda. I'll catch you guys later on. Thank you so much for stopping by. Peace. I understand, Rudd. I understand. Yeah, GameStop won't stop. Dan is the reason why I got more GameStop when I should have sold GameStop. But yeah, I got you.